Hey everybody, welcome back to the Grognards Corner, and we are actually back in the Grognards Corner, and today we are going to be taking a look at how to prepare and glue your counters back to back that come as cardstock cutouts from the Tactics and Strategy magazine from the Polish game company of the same name. We're taking a look at the counters from issue 41, the most recent issue that's come out. I wanted to get the counters for Ossetia 2008-2015 cutout, and for the Austro-Prussian War of 1886 done as well, because I do at some point want to get both of them put on the table. And as I said, and as we've seen before in previous episodes, the counters come on pretty thin cardstock, and there are front to backs to them. So requires a little bit of cutting, a little bit of preparation, a little bit of work to get it good, but it's not really that hard if you know what you're doing and you get a little bit of practice under your belt. I'm not doing all the counters. The other scenarios for the 1939 Polish versus Germany scenarios, I don't have that big of an interest in right now. I may visit it sometime in the future, but for right now I'm just looking at the counters for battles of the 21st century and for the Austro-Prussian War, and we actually end up with 3 counter sheets. So we're going to be doing all those. Now the first part, of course, is to make sure you cut out the counter sheets, and you've got to make sure you get as close as you can to an actual trim along the edges. This is very important. Now you can use a pair of scissors, or you can do like I do and cheat it and use a set or a craft razor blade that you can set up, and it's got I can't describe it. It's a real fancy razor blade that allows you to line up and cut real easy. Now, once you get the edges cut, now of course you can use a pair of scissors with this, but you take your time. There's no rush, you know, be a little bit careful with it. I will say, regardless of how well you cut it, it is going to be a tiny bit off. There's just no way a human can cut perfectly all the trimming that you need to do, but you can try to get as close as you can. If you're a person that gets irritated with counters that are a little bit offset, you're probably not going to be wanting to do this, because this is going to frustrate you, and we don't want to be frustrated in our gaming. So here we have our first sheet. Now we can tell they both got some battles of the 21st century and some of the Prussian-Austria War counters on them. And before you glue them together, you make sure you have the right sheets to go together with each other, because most of the time the counter sheets are a little bit different, so you don't have to worry about it. But other times the counter sheets can be the same size, and you want to make sure that you got the front and backs together properly. So you've got that. It's always good to have some paper towels around, because glue does tend to get messy. I want to go ahead and put this off to the side. You're also going to want a heavy book. I'm using my Vikings, The Vikings by Trey. Who is it by? Trey Truccari. I apologize if I'm butchering that name. But you want kind of a heavy book, and you want something that's got a plastic cover, plastic book sheet cover to it. Basically, you don't want anything that the glue is really going to stick to, and I found plastic works the best, because if it sticks to it, it doesn't really dry to it. If you use paper, it's gonna stick. It's gonna cure to the paper, and you're gonna be ripping paper all over the place. It's just a royal pain in the butt. Fortunately, I've already got vinyl laid down on my table, so I'm not worried about that. The glue's not really gonna stick to that or damage the vinyl when I bring it up, or when I pull it up. So got everything prepared. Get your sheets initially cut out. Make sure they're all good and trim and nice and neat the way you want them. Make sure you've got the front and back sides. And basically, you just take your PVC glue. This is your all-purpose white glue, and this is what I use. And you're gonna let's see if I can even. It's been a while since I used this thing. It may. All right, let's open this up. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this on pause real quick. I'm having a glue malfunction, and my battery on my camera is blinking again. Ugh. So we're gonna pause this real quick, and we'll be right back, continuing how to glue the counters back and front, cardstock. Be back in a sec. All right, so we're back after our numerous malfunctions from earlier. Got the battery all charged up. I think what probably one of the problems is that my battery records or shows the battery strength as, you know, full, blinking. There's no in between to let me know. Anyways, apologize about that. So anyways, we got our cardstock here with our counters. And we got our PVC glue. Now, PVC glue is what I use. There are people out there I've heard who use rubber cement, and rubber cement is fine. It's just rubber cement tends to dry a little thicker. And so basically what you're doing is you want to get pretty much a good even coating on the entire back of the cardstock. Now at this point, doesn't matter if you have a little bit of glue going over anywhere. That doesn't matter. You're gonna have glue excess anyways. And since we're using our fingers, that's why I said grab some paper towels. So, and then you grab the other side, and as you notice, the cardstock is starting to bow. Glue is a liquid. It does that to cardstock. So what you're going to want to do is measure up corner to corner, edges to edges, the best you can. Now, there we go. I think that's pretty good. You're probably going to have a little glue seeping out from the sides. That's okay. That's not a big deal. That's kind of why I said use some plastic. And what you're going to do then is we've got our big heavy book, is that we're going to place the big heavy book on top of it. Basically, since glue, like I said, is a liquid, will bow and warp the cardstock. If you actually place a big heavy book on top of it, it'll keep it flat while the glue cures. And so let's go ahead and clean up a little bit. Get that out of the way. Actually, we just may even move to another part of the table. So here we go. Yep, those all line up nice and neat. So, now what you can do is, if you're a miniature painter and you've got brushes around, you can use miniature painting brushes to spread the glue around. Whatever you're comfortable with. I know when I was doing miniature painting, I always had a couple garbage brushes that I used for gluing glue on, for doing flock on my bases and such. Yes, this is a messy procedure, but at the end of the day, it's just PVC glue. You could eat this stuff. No, I didn't eat any when I was a kid. At least I don't remember eating any when I was a kid. I may have. It's not gonna harm you. Yeah, it's a little bit sticky. Big deal. Yep, as you see it starting to bow already. That's why you kind of want to do this kind of quick. When you glue the cardstock together, you never want to leave it out without weighing it down, because then it will dry in that bowed state, and that's just a pain in the butt to try to deal with. So there we go there. Nice and neat. A little bit of glue overlap is not going to hurt it. It's not really going to... The front of these cardstocks are coated, so the glue isn't really going to stick too hardcore to it, and even if it does, when it dries, you can easily rub it off. So don't worry about getting any glue, you know, on the front of the cardstock. And there. And we got our final one. Right here. So. But yeah, like I said, there are people who use rubber cement. Rubber cement dries thicker and will make the counters thicker. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing, depending on how much rubber cement you put down. Plus, rubber cement is much stickier to work with, so it's a little bit more difficult to get on. But most rubber cement comes with a, if you're doing it with a jar, come with an application brush anyways. So you got that going for you. Spread out the glue. You did this when you were a kid in school. Everybody did. Arts and crafts. And you can already see it starting to bow immediately. So, yep, like I said, we got a little glue here. Not a big deal. Like I said, when it cures, it comes right off. Oh, making a mess all over the place. All right, tap it all down. Make sure we've got it all even. A little bit offset, but that's okay. And now we let it sit overnight. Probably a good 8 hours at least. I would recommend 12 to 16. You know, it's early evening right now, so when I get up tomorrow morning, probably 9 or 10 o'clock, I'll come back out here and we will continue the video shoot, and we will show you the quasi semi project, completed project when the glue is cured. And so I will see everybody tomorrow morning. Actually, it's only going to be a few seconds for y'all, but for me, it's going to be tomorrow morning. See everybody later. All right, here we are. We're back. It's been about 16 hours of the counters being glued together and sitting under the heavy book. So let's go ahead and take a look at what progress we've made so far. All right, now, like I said, not all the glue is going to be completely cured, so you can probably see a little bit. This is why you want to use plastic instead of paper, because the paper would just glue to it and it tears all over the place. The plastic, it comes off relatively easy. And as you can see right there, if it'll ever focus. Come on, focus. Oh, well, there we go. The glue isn't completely 100% dry. That's okay. That happens. And as you can kind of take a look, zoom back out normal here. There we go. You got some of the glue, residual glue along the top here that peels right off, no problem. So here we go. And, yep. Nice thick, sturdy, thick cardstock now that both sides are glued together. And like I said, there is going to be a little bit of glue along the edges. Pretty much just take your finger, run it across it, and it rubs right off. I can feel some right here, Just comes right off. It's good because the counters do have this kind of gloss coating, which makes it a lot easier. If it didn't have this gloss coating, then it would just be, you know, soaking into the paper and sticking, which is a bad thing. And as you can see, it's left some residual glue. And like I said, this is why you want to have plastic down and get some Windex. That cleans right up. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how well I managed to get this evened up. So let's just go ahead and cut a strip out real quick. Now, I could use the same razor that I used to initially trim it, but for our purposes right here, right quick, I'm just going to go ahead and use a pair of scissors. Again, you just kind of want to go slow and careful. Cut off that. So now we go ahead and cut the individual pieces. It's not a race. Take your time, make sure you cut. And you always want to go from the front of the counter sheet, because more often than not, most of your counters are going to be upside. So if there's if there's going to be anything off center, make it be the back side of the counters, because the vast majority of your counters are always going to be face up. All right. So there we go. We've got one counter. It's like 24th Jaeger, if it'll focus. Now let's take a look at the back side. Ah, look at that. Looks like we managed to get it fairly even, not offset much at all. Let's take a look at a couple more counters. Here we got the fronts of them. Yeah. Did a pretty good enough job that... Oops, actually, this is the front of this one. Yeah, looks like we did a pretty good job. I think most of the counters are going to turn out that way. So basically, what we've looked at, what we've seen, it probably took 15 minutes to trim the edges of all the counter sheets. You know, another 10 minutes to prep everything, put the glue on them, and then, you know, let it sit overnight. And then now basically it's just a process of cutting out the counter. So really it's maybe hour 15 minutes, hour and a half work, tops, total. So it's not that hard. I know a lot of people complain about it. They don't want to do it. Well, you know, it's not that big of a deal. It's actually, it's kind of relaxing. As odd as that may sound, and it feels like you've put some work into making the game playable rather than just punching a bunch of counters. So if you like that sense of accomplishment, let's go ahead and take a look at so here is the thickness of one of the normal counters, and here is the thickness of one of the game counters that actually comes punched. So if you notice, actually gluing the counters together makes them a little bit thicker than what's provided in the box games that you punch out normally. Like I said, I enjoy it. I like doing it. It doesn't bother me. But it looks like I've got probably about 15-20 minutes worth of work ahead of me to cut all these out, and hopefully I'll be getting both of these on the table soon. And if I do, y'all be the first to see the videos of it. All right, folks, I will talk to everybody later. See ya!